Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Tree of Woe Wrestling Podcast. I'm the Black Patriot.
Hey, I'm Marvin MD.
And this is the Wrestling Podcast, where we always put wrestling first because wrestling is the number one priority.
Yeah, we bringing the collab today. We
got a collaboration going.
Collaboration. We linking back up. So today, I think we're gonna we got a fire topic. I think this is a fire topic, very divisive, very polarizing topic. And today's topic, we are talking about
intergender wrestling. Is there a place for intergender wrestling in today's wrestling climate?
Yes, and I believe that intergender wrestling is the first step to a woman legitimately getting a world title.
And I believe there is a place for intergender wrestling, but not mainstream. I do not believe a woman will ever be a world champion. However, there's caveats to this, and I'm going to share that with you.
So you seriously, let's get into it. So you seriously believe that intergender wrestling isn't a setup for a woman eventually being able to get that world title?
I don't think we'll ever see that in WWE or AEW or Japan. But Japan is one of my examples I was going to use because while WWE's women division and was in the dark ages, women were excelling overseas. They was wrestling each other and they were wrestling men.
Yeah, and that is not really around like it used to be. And my example is WWE 2K26. They have the mode in there where you can have intergender wrestling.
But can the women win the world title?
Well, see, they don't have that. They don't have it yet. But what I'm trying to say is when you got a man and a woman and they're competing against another man and woman, eventually, yes, they always have the man versus the man and the woman versus the woman. But eventually they're going to have it to where the women are taking on the men, just like what they had at what was the pay-per-view where Cena lost to Dom? He lost the IC belt back to Dom. I
don't know, but okay. Liv Morgan kicked him in his nuts.
Okay, Liv kicks him in the nuts. Okay, that's reasonable. Okay, which one comes in here with the Tiana bomb? The Roxanne. He comes and hits her with that. No, sorry, Raquel.
Sorry, with the Tiana bomb.
With the Tiana bomb. And then here comes 4'0" Roxy, who hits him with the pop rocks. And I'm like, this is 200 and something pound John Cena. Are you serious?
It's wrestling though.
No, but
we know that they're not in a real physical fight. That's why it can work.
But wrestling at the base of it still has to be based in some type of reality. It has to still be the base of it, even though we know you're not going to have Vince McMahon versus God. Okay, and then there's a beaming light on the platform.
I remember that.
So yes, but what I'm trying to say is, when you see a Obafemi and you see a Brock Lesnar face off at each other at the Royal Rumble, you see these two going against each other. You like, okay, this is an even match. Before we got to that, we had Jobber aka Dragunov, coming up here giving Brock chops. Brock was just eating them chops, choked this man out, and then threw him out the ring.
So you saying imagine what Brock would do to a female?
No. Imagine those two even having a competitive match. As big as Brock is, and then Jobberov, you have those two go against each other, you would look at that and be like, okay, Brock is going to beat his ass. When you see most men versus most of these women, and I'm going to even say majority, if not all, when you see the average wrestler male versus these women, it's hard for you to believe that this can be a competitive match.
And that's why I said this will be, in my opinion, it will never be mainstream, but there are some nuances because this happens a lot on the indies. A lot of people are very high up on Chelsea Green, and a lot of people say, go back and watch the match she had with Penta. I watched that match. It was a competitive match.
But it should.
It was really good.
But it was good because yes, they were going back and forth. Because yes, at the end of the day, this is stunt people.
And Penta was not holding back on her either. He was going full tilt on her.
But what I'm trying to say is, even in reality, if Penta wanted to harm Chelsea Green, in reality, there's nothing Chelsea Green would be able to do about it. So when you have these two having a competitive match with each other, it just takes me out of it. It would be the same thing as somebody like Spike Dudley was having a competitive match with Bautista or somebody.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
It's like you just wouldn't accept it. So when you have Tessa Blanchard having a competitive match with Brian Cage, it just takes you out of it.
She beat him.
It makes no sense.
Tessa Blanchard was one of my examples because we've had a women's world champion. Tessa Blanchard won the TNA Impact Champion. She beat Sami Callihan.
And that, once again, all of this stuff, this is where intergender wrestling is going. So yes, you have it on the small stage where the women are going to be winning these world titles. Eventually it is going to get, because that's where the world is going. Everything is going towards the women. Everything is going towards feminine, soft, and gay. That is where it is going. And I'm guaranteeing you, wrestling, you can even see it yourself. Let's draw back for a little bit. You can see yourself. Do you think wrestling nowadays is getting softer as compared to back in Attitude Era?
Oh, it certainly is.
Or the even PG era. Like
it certainly is, and they don't protect kayfabe anymore.
So that's what I'm saying. So you notice everything is getting softer now throughout wrestling. This is why it's getting softer now, so they can introduce the women into the spotlight. This is why they're giving a lot of the women these major main events at these pay-per-views, or even at on the main shows like Raw or SmackDown. You'll have the women closing out the show.
They have main evented a lot of shows in recent years.
So when you have a face-off, when you haven't, okay, let's go to this example right here, the MFTs, okay, versus the Jobber 6. They all having the face-off. Here comes Nikki Cross getting in Solo Sikoa's face, like she's about to do something.
Doesn't Marina Shafir get in people's face all the time on behalf of when Moxley's crew was together?
Yeah, but the men are stopping themselves from hitting her because they will mop her, and the optics of a man hitting a woman looks bad. So the women can harm the men, just like in the WWE video games. The men will bleed, but the women can't bleed. And a lot of times you can't attack the women, but they can attack the men. You see what I'm saying? So they're making it one way. You're going to have Maria Shafir be in guys' faces, and then she's going to be staring them down like she can actually take these dudes. And then these guys have to act like they are scared of Maria. But you know, in reality, if this was in real life, these guys will mop her.
And I'm going to go back to the same thing. When Tessa fought Sami Callihan, he did not hold back on her. He was whooping her ass all over that ring.
What I'm trying to say
is, she still won because it's professional wrestling. If she could manage to hit him with the Magnum, she could get the 1, 2, 3. You only gotta stop a person for 3 seconds.
But this is what I'm trying to say. Yes, wrestling is made to be goofy and entertaining. This is where you get characters like Cocaine, or the multiple variants of Kane that come out, Gay Kane, and all these other stuff. Yes, it's meant to, or you got somebody who's using who's sitting there grabbing people from using the force to choke somebody from the other side of the ring, lifting their arm up, and Jesus, and people doing choke slam. So this is what I'm saying. So yes, that is entertaining. That is wrestling and entertainment. But what I'm trying to say is, when you see a wrestler versus another wrestler, it has to be believable in your mind that you can see that this person can beat this other person.
Right.
So what I'm trying to say is, so when you have Tessa Blanchard facing off against Sally Callahan or against Brian Cage, it looks ridiculous because she's so small compared to them.
I feel like they did it correctly, because before all that other stuff happened with Tessa, she was setting the wrestling world on fire with these matches. The crowd heavily popped when she won the TNA title.
Once again, this stuff appeals to a small segment of fans. Majority of fans do not want to see this.
Do you remember Lucha Underground?
Yes.
You know Sexy Star won the Lucha Underground world title.
And where is Lucha Underground now?
Out of commission out of
Okay,
business.
exactly. So you using that out of business company that's doing that kind of crap. It's not that males are misogynists and don't want to see women have titles and all that. What we're trying to say is have the women face the women. But when you having the women and you're trying to tell me that these Alexa Bliss is going to go out here and have a competitive match with a male wrestler, you take me out of it.
And I would never put Alexa in the ring with a male. She's no Tessa Blanchard. She's even smaller.
Just like, okay, and when I mean by take you out of it, yes, we all know this is a work. These are stuntmen that can act. So it's like the referee, somebody is pinned and the referee is going to count to 1, 2, 3, but somebody's supposed to kick out at 2, but they don't kick out. So what the ref does is 1, 2, and the person still hasn't kicked out, so he still got the hand up, and then he has to stop the count.
Yeah.
That right there takes you out of it.
Now you know it's a work.
So and shows like Unreal, when you're doing the behind the scenes where you think Punk and Seth hate each other,
and then you see
them bunnying it up with, or KO is like, sorry about that, Cody. I meant to, I didn't mean to take that bump like that, but that stuff takes you out of it. So what I'm trying to say is women having a competitive match with males, it takes you out of it. With Tony Storm, even somebody like a Orange Cassidy, as small as he is, you cannot see it being competitive.
Let me ask you this. If Tony Storm fought Orange Cassidy 1-on-1, you don't think she could beat him?
No.
In a wrestling ring?
No.
What about Megan Bain?
The AEW haven't beat. No. Male, I'm sorry, the guys.
You don't think a woman with good size could take a smaller man?
No.
What if Lash Legend fought Finn Balor?
Orange Cassidy would take Megan Bain. Just because Megan is big does not overpower male rape strength, especially if this dude is in rape mode or some type of aggression.
Rape mode.
Male strength is just out of control, bro.
Yeah.
And most women cannot.
Because men can overpower other men. So
this is what I'm trying to say. When I tell women, when they tell me, hey, I think I can beat a man, I always tell them, go look at the average man that you see on the street and tell me how many do you think you can take. And then they come back and be like, I don't think I can take. If you tell the average man how many women you think you can take on a daily basis on the street, they're going to be like all of them. Yeah. So this is what I'm trying to say. So it's when you having the women having competitive matches with the men, it takes you out of it. It's nonsensical. So this is why I do not like intergender wrestling, because then they're going to have the women taking, just once again, that thing what happened to John Cena, Roxy putting him in the pop.
That would have never happened to Stone Cold.
Stone Cold would never have gone for that. Even when China was on top and doing this, trying to wrestle the men. Yeah, Jeff Jarrett took a L to her, but Jeff had to pay a decent penny.
They paid him $100,000 to do it.
But once again, but even that is nonsensical. Even as big as China was then, her beating Jeff Jarrett, it was purely entertainment purposes only. You that kind of just took it out of it. This is why Vince and them stopped doing that.
And as far as mainstream goes, she's the only woman to win the male Intercontinental Championship. At one point, she was the number 1 contender to the WWE title, but obviously they wasn't going to put the belt on China over Austin. Austin was the champion. If she had won the title, as popular as she was back then, you don't think it would have? That would have taken. You don't think it would have been good? It would have tanked the company.
That would have tanked the company. It is as popular as China was. China was not going to carry WWE. Let's just keep it real.
So was you mad?
This is why they were able to let her go. No, I wasn't mad when she won the title, because I was like, all right, if you're going to have,
it's the secondary title,
because China versus the other women look ridiculous.
Okay.
So China, it's just like Awesome Kong. Awesome Kong came in, her versus the other women looks ridiculous. So when they had Awesome Kong facing the men, I could accept that. And tell you the truth,
you can accept Awesome Kong as a facing men
because of her size. Yes, her size and strength. For me to believe that a woman can beat a man, she would have to look like Awesome Kong. Because when Awesome Kong was facing men, I had absolutely zero problem watching that. Okay. I had a problem watching her versus the women, because I was like, she should just be squashing all of these women.
Her and Gail Kim had hell of a matches together. And Gail Kim is a little woman.
Yeah, and this was reality. She would just squash Gail Kim. I mean, let's just keep it real. But they had them have a competitive match back and forth. That even took me out of it, because I'm like, yo, she should not be going back and forth with Awesome Kong.
So even if the match is going well, You don't like it just because
No,
it's
because
intergender.
once again, a man and a woman, yes, can know how to wrestle. Also, women's coordination versus a man's coordination are two different things too. So I don't. Also, that has
Tessa's
to be.
coordination is on point.
There are a few women out there that to me are like Charlotte Flair, that to me are like Bianca Belair. When you see these women in the ring, they move like men. They have the fluidity of a man in their motion. They're not. Women tend to be not as coordinated.
Yeah, you're right.
And so when you watching a women's wrestling match, is not going to be as clean as a men's wrestling match. I mean, it's just not. And I don't know if that sounds sexist or not, but to me that's just the truth.
No, it's right. You can see it.
So once again, so when you having a woman now taking on a male, the male to me has to slow down in what he's doing and cannot do too much, because if he really put the full power behind it, he would really be able to hurt her.
Could you see Charlotte or Bianca winning the WWE title or the World Heavyweight title?
Now, no. But give it about 15, 20 years if WWE is still around, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So there's no place for it now.
That I don't think that so
Because I don't believe so. I don't think it is either. And I'm pro
once again
intergender
they're
wrestling, but
putting it in the video game.
I don't think we'll see it in AEW. I don't think we'll see it in WWE.
AEW does do it. AEW does it sometimes.
I mean, you're not going to see them
matches.
win the world title. You're not going to see that.
And I'm telling you, give it another. Wrestling has
decade.
gotten softer. Even old school wrestlers call out how modern day wrestlers out here playing video games, and these guys are taking little latte breaks and all this other. When you watch old school video like Animal, Hawk, and Sting and all these jokers backstage, these jokers were popping roids, doing cocaine, like just and hitting workouts and doing it all at the same time. It was just so it's just a different era of masculinity. What I'm trying to say is, as time goes on, the masculinity is dropping, things are getting softer, and as things are getting softer, you're going to start seeing more and more women versus men, and then we're going to eventually go to, within 20 years, I guarantee it, we will have a woman champion.
Maybe even sooner. Like I said, Tessa and
Within
Sexy
20
Star
years.
has already done it.
I'm talking about on the main stage, like a WWE or AEW, we will eventually see this.
And it's been happening on the indies for years.
Yes, and
there's women
like
that
it.
have been world champions of independent promotions.
And I'm sorry, I'm just not a big fan of it. I don't think, to me, like I said, it just takes you out of it. It's just, once again, it's like a little person. It's like if you see Dragunov versus Brock Lesnar, you expect Brock to crush Dragunov. You do not expect them to have a competitive match, because you even know outside of the ring, Brock would mop this dude. So yes, when you see him in the ring, you expect him to mop him. So when you see Brian Cage or the other guy versus Tessa Blanchard or these other women, it takes you out of it, because you know they would beat them outside of the ring. And I do not like intergender wrestling. I don't think it's a place for it in wrestling. Maybe on the indies, as a little gimmick entertainment kind of stuff. But main stage, I don't see it. I don't think there's a place for it.
I think there's a place for it, but like you said, I think it's a place for it in a niche setting. Indies, AEW, but I don't think there's a place for it mainstream. And I don't think we'll ever see men fighting women in WWE like as legit competitors.
But once again, it's in the video game. They have the intergender wrestling in the video game. Also, when I bought 2K, I think it was 23 or 24, you could not hit the women. The women can hit you. The women could not bleed. The men could bleed. I am telling you, this is where it's going. And in the new WWE video game in 2K, intergender wrestling is right there. So why would they not eventually put that on TV?
I mean, WWE toyed with the concept. Remember the mixed match challenge? And they dropped it. And now, granted, the women had to fight the women and the men had to fight the men, but it was a team of one male and one woman.
Yeah, but once again, everything big starts small. You introduce little things like this. Eventually, you bring it back out. You start making it normal. You start normalizing it. And then eventually, it just becomes status quo. That is eventually what is going to happen with this. And I'm telling you, this is where it's going. You see society going this way. You see video games going this way, movies, even sports. So there's no reason for me not to say that this is happening here. You got female now coaching in the NFL. There's only a matter of time before they have a female head coach. There's only a matter of time before they have women playing in the NFL. They'll start them off as a kicker or something like that.
I was about to say, they gonna get rocked.
Then why can't they be an O-lineman? Once again, the NFL is getting softer. So it's gearing it up for the women to join. And I'm trying to tell you, this is where society is going. And you can see it right now in WWE. Things have gotten softer. It is going towards the women.
What if in this wrestling setting, in this hypothetical decade from now, what if the chick is such a beast, so over with the crowd that it's undeniable?
Once again,
that you have to put the belt on her.
The male wrestlers, because once again, men drive wrestling. Men drive sports in general. Action movies and things like that, men drive that. Because this is testosterone. We want to see males fighting other males. Men would not. This is what I'm trying to say. They're trying to soften men to condition them to want to see a woman winning a world title.
Hold up. What about all those movies where there is women whooping butt?
Yeah, but
Resident Evil. You got Project Alice whooping everybody ass. They just came out with the Underworld, Celine whooping everybody's ass. The Ballerina, they had Ana de Armas whooping everybody's ass in that movie.
But that movie bombed. So you got to talk about successful
Ultraviolet. What was the Charlize Theron one? I can't remember. She was whooping everybody's ass
Peppermint
in that movie.
Or something?
Peppermint was Jennifer Gardner, and she was whooping everybody's ass in that movie.
Yeah, but that ain't failed. But so we got to talk about successful movies. Now, if you're talking about movies like that, that's where women either would have.
I don't mind seeing women beating up men.
I don't mind in the movie setting because it's the movies.
But yes, wrestling is a movie, basically. It's you have to suspend your belief and suspend your disbelief to watch some of the stuff that go on in wrestling.
When you're watching a movie, you know damn well when you seeing Dominic Toretto is doing taking on a tank on the highway, you know that this is not happening in real life.
Right.
When you're seeing 50-foot monsters and all this stuff, because you know this is it is entertainment. Wrestling is a different form of entertainment.
And when I saw Sami Callihan lose to Tessa Blanchard, I know she cannot beat that man in a fist fight in real life. But I know they had a really good wrestling match and she won the world title.
Yeah, because he allowed it to happen.
And that's another point. I'm glad you make that point. If it don't matter to the male wrestlers that's putting them over, why should it matter to me as a fan?
Because what happens is we get a bunch of these male simps who jump in and tell the women, you deserve it, like a Maxine Dupree, be like, you deserve it, and things like that, or and who hasn't done anything. So then you start gassing up the women who have not done anything, and they win something, and you just scream they deserve it. That's don't crazy. Deserve it.
Because I was so pressed for Tessa before all that racist stuff came out, and I wanted her to win the world title so bad.
Okay, yeah, and what I'm trying to tell you is Tessa facing the men. Why can't Tessa just be the top of with the women?
She can be.
So, but what I'm trying to say is you have to, once again, when you're watching wrestling, you're watching stunt people that can act or attempt to act. But when you are watching it, your visual, you have to be able to believe that this person is a badass.
Mm-hmm.
This is why you see Braun Breaker, the unpredictable badass, and Bronson Reed, and you see all these big guys. You have to believe that these guys are tough, and you have to believe that the person that's opposite them has a chance of beating this guy. So what I'm trying to say is when you have a mismatch, like a Brock Lesnar and a Dragunov, I keep going back to the Royal Rumble,
mm-hmm.
is not believable. But when you have a Obafemi having a face-off with Brock Lesnar, now that looks believable.
And that's why I'm saying I don't think it's going to happen mainstream because of this. I think there's a place for it, but never mainstream, because the other problem that we didn't talk about, it destabilizes the women's division. Okay, so Tessa Blanchard, let's say she did won the title, she carried it. When she drops it, Now the rest of the women don't look credible against her. That's why it's never going to happen. How can other women face this woman and she's already been beating up men?
Because I believe they're going to eventually drop the men and women stuff and eventually just have one thing. This is where you can see it in society with the neutral bathrooms and all of this other stuff. They're slowly erasing men and women, and then they're just going to have people. And then this is where it's going to go.
I don't like that.
You're going to. I'm telling you, within 20 years, the men's title is going to be gone. The women's title is going to be gone. It's going to be all of them just fighting each other. And you're going to have women getting in dudes' faces, and the guys have to act like they're scared of this woman, and has to act like this woman is going to beat her ass. And this is what you're going to get. And this is because you see it. This is where society is going, and you see it in entertainment. That's where entertainment is going. So it obviously is going to have to transition into wrestling. So that's basically my talking.
That is something to see. Intergender wrestling, guys. Is there a place for it in the current landscape of professional wrestling? No. Only on indies. Only small time, only in a niche setting. In the future, could it take over? We don't know. But the writing is on the wall.
We can see it right now. It may not be in WWE on Raw or SmackDown or on the pay-per-views, but we're seeing it in the video games. So for you to put it in your video game and then for you to not transfer that to real life, it just doesn't make any sense. So let's just sit on that for a second. Why would you have it in a video game and then you don't have it in real life? So do you think the video game, once again, will set it up to be in real life? And this is where we're going with it.
And women have won male titles before. China, Sexy Star, Tessa Blanchard, women all over the indies. So it can happen.
It can happen, but most people don't want to see it.
All right.
And they're not misogynists for not wanting to see it.
And I can understand why people wouldn't want to see it. I will watch it as long as the match good. If you give me a good match, I'll watch a wrestler wrestle a dog. I'll watch him wrestle. Kenny Omega wrestled a blow-up doll.
Yes, because wrestling is entertainment.
He wrestled a little girl.
It is entertainment. Yes. But when you are having a competitive match with a woman who is 130 pounds and most of the men are over 200 pounds, I cannot wrap my brain around that, and I cannot take that seriously. So that is where I'm going to have to stand with it. Right.
Guys, we're going to leave the rest of the discussion up to you. You tell us in the comments what you think. I'm the Black Patriot.
Hey, I'm Mark from MD.
And this has been the Tree of Woe Wrestling Podcast. Thank you, guys. Have a good one. Stay safe.
Peace.